Greetings, I am Erin Patten, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings, I am Erin Patten, also known as Master L, and welcome to the Meta Business Millennial podcast. I am so honored that I already see some of you joining the room and coming in to hear the great message that I have to share today, because it is truly inspired from deep personal experience and also just what is happening in the world today, of course. And before we jump in, I want to remind you all to subscribe to my channel and follow me across social media channels at I am Erin Patten. And also, if you feel called, like this video, share it with a friend, and leave me a comment or DM, because I would really love to hear from you, particularly around this message. And I'm going to go ahead and jump in because I feel so passionately about what I have to share today, because the title of this podcast, I titled it, Are You Working Yourself to Death? And this is very personal for me because it was an experience of mine, and also what I feel like is a shared experience across the board for overachievers and just high achieving individuals, purpose driven individuals, I dare say. And I'll start with me, of course, and then kind of move into what I've seen in other experiences for other people. And I share this a lot, and I don't know for you who are new here, but when I was launching my beauty business, this was back in like 2016, 2017, I was really working myself like a slave. Like, I was waking up early in the morning to do posts on social media, working all through the day, staying up really late at night, and doing much of it myself. And this was also while I was grieving my father, who I believed worked himself to death, and also what my mom was experiencing with her mental illness at the time. And I literally burned myself out. Like, it was within a year and a half time when my mom had her big episode. I, pretty much crashed and burned with her. And this was a moment when I realized, like, I'm going to either die doing this work, or I have to find a way to live and sustain myself. And then that is when I, like in my branding, when I always say that's when my real education began. I had all these degrees from these very, esteemed institution, Harvard Business School, Harvard Kennedy School, Macomb School of Business, Plan 2 honors at UT, like all these esteemed degrees, and was literally at my wit's end by my early 30s. Like, I was literally tapped out. Like, I had only graduated a few years and barely could make it after that. And so all of this to say that when we are on our purpose driven path, and when we are really inspired to our work, it doesn't bring us to this point. We don't work ourselves for fear and lack. And for me, that's really where that drive came from. It was a drive to prove myself. It was a drive to make more money. It was a drive to be on covers of magazines just like all my peers. And that was, all of these accomplishments, the recognition, the acknowledgement, of course, is very valid, because I'm in the same pursuit of these things today with a different energy, with a very different energy, with an energy of knowing that it's already happening for me, and there is no extra efforting that I need to do to make these things happen, first of all. And second of all, the difference is, like I said, the knowing, and in that knowing is a deep trust in my being that I am on the right path and everything is happening for me and everything will work out for me. I can't say that I felt that way before. I had extreme self doubt. I had extreme anxiety. and FOMO, all the things, that come with that. And it really kept me from, realizing my fullest potential in that moment, in those moments. And going back to that moment, because I really wanted to share this also personal story of how I even awakened to this, me working so hard, was experiencing the unexpected passing of my father. And why I bring this up is because a few days ago, a very prominent figure in the Houston community, and of course, probably around the world and our country, especially, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee passed away. She, in my view, was a still very vibrant, seasoned woman, and in many ways was working herself to the bone. I don't know when this lady ever took a break. She would be at every event, every community walk, everything, including her roles on the national level. I saw this behavior too in my father. And actually, my father told me when I was younger that I want you to find me slumped over my desk. And we know what that means. He wants you, he wanted me to find him dead working. Like he never wanted to retire. And I understand the desire to not want to retire, yet I do not understand the desire to push myself so hard that I'm literally working myself to death. My dad passed away. He had 5 causes of death documented on his certificate. I mean, I ain't never heard of that in my life. He was dealing with so many physical ailments and in many ways refused to recover, refused to change his habits. It was just wake up, take off the whatever surgeries and get back to work. Eat the same foods, walk the same walk, talk the same talk. And witnessing this, experiencing this was so painful because I wanted desperately to save him. Even when he was on his deathbed, that was when I was really starting to get into my healing work. I was holding his hand. I was trying to bring him back. Maybe one day I will have the ability to do that, but I didn't at that time. And what I learned from him, what I learned from my mother, is that I will never work so hard, miss all the opportunities with my child, with my family, because I'm so concerned about making money. And this essentially, or building wealth, was the desire for my father. Yet he didn't quite understand the full depth and breadth of the definition of wealth, which is what I'm mastering for today and for all of you, because wealth is so much deeper than the bank account, than the magazine covers, the C-SPAN views, the CNN interviews. That is only a snippet of what one can achieve, actually. And I must say that as we start to expand our view of what this success looks like, what it feels like, we will come to experience levels of happiness and joy and pleasure that we never knew were even possible. And I know that to be true because I am a living testament to that truth. I sit here literally with tears in my eyes, having traveled this road of knowing what it is to work oneself to death. We don't have to do that. We will not have to do that because we are opting for and we're choosing a higher path. And this path is designed, it's that birthright that everyone speaks to of abundance, the manifesting, having the life of your dreams. This is a very trending topic across anywhere, any media source. Yet, how real is it, even for the people that are delivering the message of all this abundance? Rarely are people putting into practice the tools that are necessary for this. And I'm happy to share them with you today. And the first one is taking the time to stop and be with yourself. And I know this is difficult for parents. I know this is especially difficult for mothers because our children always want to be around us. We're always feeling that desire to be there and support. Yet you cannot pour from an empty cup. And people say this all the time. Yet what are people doing to fill their cup? Do they even know what kind of cup they have? What kind of water? Is it filtered water? Is it dirty water going into that cup? We really want to be deeply aware of how we're nurturing ourselves. And if you are aware that you're not nurturing yourself, congratulations, because that is a step along the path of getting there. Because when I'm talking about the busyness of life, the working of life, a lot of times people don't even realize that they're not doing for themselves. They feel like doing for others, getting the cha-chings in the bank account is a signal that they're doing for themselves without even knowing that they're not doing for themselves. And doing for yourself is going to look different for everyone. For me, I love a good spa day. I love a sea salt soap bath. And this is something that I can do in my home, in my space. I don't have to go anywhere for that. Taking a nap, going for a walk. I do this now, especially since I'm on this fitness journey, going for an hour walk outside. If you have to, set the kids up with the iPad. I know screen time is a big issue, but your time is bigger. So you really have to do what you have to do to connect back to you. Listen to what's happening in here. The goal is to not be to a breaking point where you're like my father or a representative Sheila Jackson Lee or any of these people who are getting to this age where it all just crumbles because they're missing the signals along the way. My dad had 2 heart attacks before he passed away. He had such severe diabetes, he was on dialysis before he passed away. So there were so many signals that were coming along from his body, I'm sure from his mind too, that were like, "Bro, slow down. Give me a break. Give me some rest. Give me some more nutrients in my body, in my being. Talk to someone. Release some of that anger that you have in your being so you don't have to go off on your family members all the time." These are things that I'm sure were coming up for him, yet he did not have the awareness or the tools to tend to those things. Yet me in seeing them, I know for myself and I know I can do better. I know I have to do better because I'm choosing longevity. I refuse, like I said, to work myself to death. I'll stop everything. And I have stopped everything before multiple times. And this is what I talked about on my last podcast episode. I had to watch that back because I was talking about building of the foundation, building of the infrastructure so you won't be taken out by a storm. Yeah, I had many setbacks to make sure my foundation was properly tended to. My infrastructure was sound, weatherproof, all the proofs. And this is what I'm also encouraging you to consider on your own path as a leader in your family, in your business, tending to yourself, listening to yourself. And I've talked about this a long time ago. But there's a process of the listening, and it's the noticing, the naming, and the nurturing. Because, like I said, if you're noticing that you're not caring for yourself, congratulations, because that's the first step. A lot of people not even there. However, if you're tuning into this, I know at least you're aware of something that you need to do for yourself, noticing that and naming it. Okay, why am I not taking this time? Why do I feel like I need to hustle so much? Why am I feeling like I need to compete with my peers? And when I look at them on Instagram, I get jealous. I get envious. These are real emotions because I felt them too. Okay. So you don't have to deny these of yourself. You notice it, you name it. Wow, I really feel this way. What's lacking in my own being? What's lacking in my own life that I envy somebody else? That I feel like I need to work so hard to catch up. I feel like I'm falling behind. Where are these narratives coming from? Ask yourself these questions. I can speak for myself, but I'm not sure what it is for you. I mean, of course, if you want to work with me, I'm happy to sit with you and we can sit through them and talk through them, and we can really start to sense and really heal those aspects of what it's going through for you. Yet in this very moment, I'm not able to just speak to it. However, collectively I can. When we are feeling that lack and that desire to really want to push ourselves, we're feeling behind, the deep insecurity, a deep disconnection from self, a deep distrust, mistrust of yourself, because you are where you are and you be's where you be. And if there's one thing in our life, we have to accept that. You want to change it? Okay, great. Now we can build a plan to make the change. First, we got to accept where we are. And I really get chills when I talk about that because that is such a hard thing to do. You think I wanted to accept when I was, hundreds of $1,000s in debt, living in my childhood bedroom? My dad passed away. My mom's, dealing with her issues. I'm about to have a baby, that I created this reality, this hell that I was living in. I I did not want to accept that. I did not know how I was going to crawl out of this debt hole. I did not know what I was going to do. I had to shut down my business. I didn't have the money to start up another one. I definitely didn't have the energy to. Yet I had to accept where I was. And by accepting where I was, I could create a vision for where I wanted to go. And that's why the work that we do with the meta business world, meta strategy work, the vision and values is so critical. You have to be able to see where you want to go. And that vision will continue to evolve. So just because you aren't imagining something super great right now, super disruptive right now, don't sell yourself short, because this is a journey. Remember, we're not trying to work ourselves to death. We're trying to work ourselves to fulfillment. We're trying to work ourselves to joy, to happiness, to pleasure, to fun, to love, work ourselves to play, work to play. Have you ever heard that before? That's what I'm working toward. I want to work to play. Like this moment right here, this talking to you right here is a very playful, fun, juicy, fulfilling moment for me. Even just the few people that are in this room right now. I get so much fulfillment from tapping into my higher self, connecting to source, connecting to the universe, and speaking my truth with so much love, with no judgment, with so much compassion for you and where you're going. This is a gift. And you have the ability to cultivate your gift as well. And you should, and you will, if you already not. Because this is why you came here. This is why we're here. So I really want to breathe into this message because I've gotten emotional, and that's beautiful. And I want to demonstrate that for all of you, for the collective. It is okay to be emotional. It is okay to shed a tear, especially when it's coming from a real place. We don't break down when we cry. We release when we cry. We release that which no longer serves us so that we can make room for higher energies to empower us. So when you're thinking about the noticing, the naming of your issues, the third piece is the nurturing. And I wasn't going to forget that, y'all. I'm very good at what I do. Come back to it after a long winded explanation. So we talked about the knowing of yourself, the trusting of yourself, the connecting back to yourself, finding those little moments despite what's distracting you to spend time with yourself and listen to your body, listen to your energy. That's the noticing, a long winded way of saying the noticing. Then you name it. What are these energies that I'm feeling? These emotions, these energies, emotions that I'm feeling. That's what emotions are. Energies in motion. Is it jealousy? Is it envy? Is it greedy? Is it happy? Is it loving? Is it celebratory? Is it angry? Is it mad? Is it resentful? Name your emotions and do not be ashamed because they're yours. It's not you, it's yours. And that's a big difference that I learned in Tai Chi when you say it's me, not mine's. And I say mine's. It's not me, it's mine's. It's my emotions, my anger, but it's not me. I'm not angry. I have these angry feelings. I'm not resentful. I'm not envious. I'm not jealous, but I have these jealousy emotions. That's the difference. And you have to be able to acknowledge when you feel these things so that you can work and tend to them, nurture them, so they can be rise up the energetic scale of frequency so they can be cleared and you can experience higher levels of joy, higher levels of satisfaction, higher levels of fulfillment. And this takes time. The nurturing, the noticing, the naming, and the nurturing. It's a cycle. It's a cycle, a really virtuous cycle, if you will, that you do multiple times a day, every day. You want to be able to nurture yourself. If you need a chocolate chip cookie, eat your cookie. If you need to step outside and go for a walk, go for your walk. Whatever it is, whether it's a guilty pleasure or a healthier one, you're going to start choosing healthier options the higher your energy rises. Yet we are not judging ourselves on this journey. The judgment no longer serves us. The shame definitely doesn't serve us. So when you're nurturing yourself, you're being that parent for your inner child. That's what we're always tending to is that inner little girl, that inner little boy that lives inside of us that didn't get what he or she wanted at some point in life and is continuing to sabotage and act out in that way. And so, that is exactly the work. Thank you for sharing that comment. The work is tending to that little aspect of yourself, that little aspect that actually makes a big noise and big ruckus in your being. And we try to ignore it, we try to mute it. But like I always say, the energy is felt. The energy is felt. And I noticed this because, say, like you're going, for example, I had this experience where I was just like in the airplane port or on the airplane, and the waitress or the attendant is kind of rude to me, but the energy that I had at that moment was kind of shitty energy. So, in many ways, what's happening around us is a reflection of where we are energetically, and that's just how it is. That's just how it be. So the more that we work on that aspect of our inner child and having that joy. Because you notice whenever there's kids on the plane or kids anywhere, most of the time, the attendants are like, oh my God, hi. Like, do you need some extra snacks or extra drinks? Like, they're overly loving to kids because kids just like are bursting at the seams with love vibration, with love energy, with joy, with playfulness, with happiness. They're ready to bust out laughing or scream and holler. And it's totally acceptable. And in many ways, just like scripture says, we should remain like a child in that way, bursting with energy, bursting with love, bursting with optimism that's authentic, of course, and healed and not fake and phony, perpetrating. So we really want to be able to have that energetic frequency of love, of self-acceptance, of peace, of all of those aspects of ourselves that are the highest aspects and that comes with the nurturing. And I am so grateful for y'all who are joined today because today was just so deeply personal to me. Like I said, we lost a great woman a few days ago in Representative Sheila Jackson Lee. Like she's deeply connected with her personally. My parents were deeply connected to her and her husband. My thoughts go out to her children, her loved ones, because I deeply, firmly believe that obviously she was of a different generation, a different era. They work different, they move different, and we have so much to learn from her, and we have learned so much from her, and we will not go down that same path. We will not work ourselves to death. We will have long lives, fulfilling lives, where we can really give to this earth, to this planet, to this collective in joy and be able to experience that joy and pleasure in our lives for many, many years, well beyond 70s, well beyond 80s. And for all of you who are not aware of my services, this is the kind of work that I do. I'm a wealth advisor, very special wealth advisor, metaphysical wealth advisor who supports leaders, supports organizations in being able to realize these very leading edge ideas for themselves, for their companies, making more money, building bigger businesses, yet doing it with ease, yet not killing myself in the process, not burning out my team. And I do this through a series of 3 offerings. The first is the Meta Business Activation Day. The Meta Business VIP Day is what we call it. And it's a day opportunity for me to come in, work with you, work with your teams, do a speaking engagement, do team activations. It can look so many different ways. The second is the meta strategy work, as I mentioned earlier, the vision and values, coming in for some deeper engagement where we work with leadership teams to really carve out a vision for where the company organization will go, crafting values around it, and then a very sound strategy to hold you accountable. And then the third piece is the meta coaching. And that's pretty much standard in all of this work. So if you're really wanting to grow, then you really want to commit to work on a one-on-one basis, a regular basis. And I'm happy to discuss all of these with you. More information about all of it is on my website, erinpatten.com. And I just want to thank you all again for coming today, for tuning in, for giving me your comments, because we will be alive and well and happy and supported along this journey. And of course, follow me at I am Erin Patten across social media channels. And until the next episode of the Meta Business Millennial, I wish you all so much love, so much joy, and so much peace. Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatten.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.